Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I want to teach you how to make a pretty fire recipe today. Today, I'm going to teach you how to make the best piece of salmon you've ever had. Now, I already lied. This isn't salmon. This is actually steelhead, but I went to Costco, and this is the only piece of similar fish that Costco sells with the skin on. Because this is actually really important to making this the best dish ever. Now, what I've done here is I'm using a carbon steel pan. I got a nice medium high heat going on this pan. A little bit of oil. You don't need too much oil. This salmon's got some natural oils in there. And I've added this to a nice hot pan, skin side down. And I'm gonna let this cook about 90% on the bottom and about 10% on the top overall. Now, the reason why I want to keep the skin on is there's a lot of important factors in here. Number one is flavor. That skin carries some great flavor. It's going to release some oils. It's going to release some flavor molecules into the pan that's going to incorporate into our sauce and get basted over the top. Now, before I go and talk about number two, I'm going to give this a little flip. I'm going to flip this salmon once the temperature reaches about... You'll see it. If you look at the side of the salmon, it reaches about halfway up the salmon. I'm looking for like that light pink to come up instead of orange, light pink to come up about halfway. That's the time I know it's about ready to flip. I'm going to flip it on the top and get a little bit of brown on the top. I like it. Some people don't. It's a personal preference. Now, part two of why the skin is really important is the insulation of the cooking. This is going to prevent the heat from traveling too quickly through the salmon, and it's going to let it cook slowly. It's going to let it cook slowly and make sure that the salmon is more evenly cooked, and instead of a bunch of overcooked edges, like the top and the bottom, and then leave the middle that perfect texture. I want a nice, even, perfect cook all the way through. And then number three is I'm looking for a nice brown, crispy skin, because I kind of like to eat the skin after while I'm eating the salmon. That's a great part. So you can see this part, it's about ready to flip back over. You can see I got a little bit of touch of orange on top, a little brown, little touch of orange on top. This is the perfect part. So right now the salmon's about 85 to 90% cooked. So right now I'm gonna drop that heat down, and what I'm gonna do is throw in a little pat of butter. Right here, gonna throw in a little pat of butter after this heat's come down. And this is where the best flavor is all gonna come from. The butter is fat soluble, and most of these flavor molecules are also fat soluble. So they're all gonna solubilize in this butter. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna baste this over the top of the salmon. Now, there's two things this is doing. Number one, this is helping cook just that last little 5-7% that I want of that salmon, because it's basting hot oil over the top, and that's where that last little portion of uncooked portion of salmon is. And number two is I'm just basically basting it with flavor, and who doesn't love butter? Okay. Now the salmon's about 95% of the way cooked, so I'm going to pull it off the heat and let that last 5% end up cooking on its own. Now the perfect texture of salmon I was looking for is it should just fall apart in your mouth. It shouldn't flake into those little layers. It should be almost like you need to eat it with a spoon. Now here's the most important part here. I'm going to throw in a little bit of white wine, deglaze this pan, make this beautiful sauce that I'm going to pour over the salmon. This is also going to help add some flavor and a little bit of heat to help finish off cooking that last little part of the salmon. And that perfect salmon, what you're looking for is not for the proteins to fully coagulate, so you get those layers of salmon you can peel apart, but almost at the point where the proteins haven't fully connected, so it just kind of falls apart when you're eating it. And that's what you're looking for, the best texture of salmon. It should just fall apart. Now, when you make this is not something you time. This is not something that's follow the recipe. This is something that's done with practice, and it'll look perfectly like this after you do it a couple times. Now, this is the best tasting salmon or steelhead that I make, and it's phenomenal. Look at that, gorgeous.